Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. I just wanted to put together a quick video discussing the Thomas and Chess model of personality development. Thomas and Chess, generally speaking, kind of get right to the point, have a theory that when we are born, we have a particular temperament. And our temperament is basically the foundation in terms of our personality. So Thomas and Chess say that we are born either with well, labeled as an easy baby in terms of our temperament, difficult baby in terms of our temperament, or a slow to warm up baby in terms of our temperament. And there's many factors and variables that really go into how and why we are born with these particular temperaments. For example, simple just genetics in terms of the personality of the mother. Also, possibly some environmental factors, in terms of stress or anxiety that the mother may have been going through while she was pregnant or even during labor. There's a lot of different variables that could impact this. So again, these when you're born, we have a particular temperament. And the theory is that based upon that particular temperament, and I'll extend it a little further, we obtain particular traits. And I know we can kind of go back and forth and argue in terms of what's considered a positive trait, a negative trait, masculine, feminine. Unfortunately, I'll be a little stereotypical in terms of this particular video and example. The theory is that if you're an easy baby, you will obtain particular positive traits. So things such as being friendly, outgoing, supportive, things like that. If you're a difficult baby, you will, in theory, obtain negative traits, so to speak. So you may be difficult, selfish, things like that. Slow to warm up. Um, Again, kind of in the middle there, and in terms of obtaining kind of a mixture of both positive and negative traits. I should have let me step back a little bit. An easy baby, in terms of what that looks like, in terms of temperament, is kind of just what it sounds. These babies tend to be very predictable, tend to be very consistent in terms of eating, sleeping, just generally overall pretty friendly. Difficult baby, really the complete opposite. So we're looking at someone that is very inconsistent, very irritable, very, well, not really unfriendly, but just very difficult to kind of be around and to raise and things along those lines. And slow to warm up is, again, just kind of what it sounds as well. So these babies tend to be very cautious, tend to take a while to warm up to individuals around them, but eventually through exposure. They do become comfortable in terms of their environment. Now, the question I have to pose to my students is this as black and white as it appears? Is it really kind of set in stone, so to speak? If you're born, let's say, for an example, a difficult baby, does that mean that you are guaranteed, in terms of obtaining these quote unquote negative traits? Well, not necessarily. I mean, that's one of the things that we've talked about in psychology is that nothing is black or white. Everything is gray. And it really depends upon the individual, depends upon the social context, and it depends upon a variety of different types of variables. So variables that kind of pop up in my head that may influence, you're born with a temperament, the type of traits that you're going to obtain, things like parenting factors, socioeconomic status, educational variables, environmental factors, things along those lines. Those can all impact the types of traits in which you may obtain. So, a good example of this is you may be born an easy baby in terms of your temperament. However, something may happen within the family dynamics. Unfortunately, we live in a society where divorce is pretty common. So, based upon that divorce, and some divorces can be a good thing, believe it or not, but let's say it's a bad divorce. So, based upon that, that may have a significant negative impact on that particular child. So, they may have been born with an easy temperament, but because of stress, anxiety, whatever it may be, they may obtain negative traits. You may have a difficult baby, right? And that difficult baby may be put in an environment that's actually very supportive and very flexible, very open minded, things like that. So that may actually influence that individual obtaining more positive traits, so to speak. One of the ideas behind the kind of this black or white approach is that, for example, if you're an easy baby, that's going to really influence the environment around you. So, I'll kind of pick on myself. If I have my kids are very easy, so to speak. Good sleep routine, good eating, things like that. They're probably going to be exposed to more opportunities, more beneficial types of environments, more loving, things like that. So the theory is that they will obtain more positive traits. If it's a difficult baby, again, in theory, um, lack of sleep, no consistency in terms of eating, things like that, it will be difficult and it will stress me out and so forth. And I may limit the amount of opportunities or whatnot in terms of that particular baby. So they may obtain more negative traits. Now, again, I really want to emphasize things are very gray. So, yes, there is a pretty good genetic component in terms of our personality, but the social context and the social environment really does have a lot to do with our personality development, the traits that we tend to obtain, and then generally our overall disposition in terms of how we tend to perceive life and the world around us. So hopefully that gives you guys a little bit better idea in terms of Thomas and Chess, in terms of their ideas, in terms of temperament, and how that generally impacts our traits and our overall disposition. If you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. Thanks, guys.